Max speaking presently. Um, I wanted to talk about something that I believe personally. Um, so I think that things have different forms, and as a wizard, I believe that sometimes things have a spiritual form that is drastically different from the physical form. And what do I mean by that? Because oftentimes I will say that spirits are not physical, they're mental or psychological as much as they are anything else. Um, but obviously, as I am a living physical person, spirits can be physical or can be in a physical body. Um, just as, like animals and plants and stuff, like life has an energy force in it, and whether you're calling that a spirit or a mind or I don't know, just being alive. It's all the same to me. But I think it goes beyond that because so like some of the spirits I talk to, they are a personification or a version that can talk to me of a concept, but that concept can have a physical form. So, for example, if I'm at, I'll use actually a memory as an example. If I'm at Sacramento Lake, or no, I'll do something closer to where I live. If I'm at Vancouver Lake, in Washington, and I'm, if I'm talking to the lake, like the physical water body, and just saying something like, thank you for this stick that washed up, or whatever it is, that is talking to the spirit because the lake, for me, whatever the spirit, I don't know what it looks like, but if I got a stick from something and I feel connected to that place or I feel connected to a physical thing, well, I think it's like kind of one and the same for me where I may not know what that thing looks like or anything about it, but I can still be appreciative of that stick and take it home and make a wand out of it. Um, and I think that there can be like there was one time I was at a tree and there was someone had put trash. Someone I was as Marks, which is one of our altars, and it was Marks and Max who went out. We didn't really understand things from the psychological perspective at that time, but I was dressed fully in my full on like super villain wizard attire, like my green mask and everything. And I went out into this like forested area, and someone had literally put trash intermeshed with these like with this viney bush, and it was a spot I'd seen before that felt spiritual. Like that spot felt like it could be a small spirit's home or a small animal's home. It just was like a log type deal with vines everywhere, and someone had wrapped the vines around the trash. It looked very intentional. It looked like someone had intentionally sabotaged that little animal or spirit's home. And so I, of course, like gathered up as much trash as I could, and I threw it out and like walked a bit to find a trash can, and then came back, and I was so angry. Me and Marks were so angry. We felt we felt like an energy just like a I don't know, like just consuming us of raw anger because that part of me, Marx, is kind of very connected with nature. He sees himself as sort of, I guess, the English word for it would be Fey, although he's also a devil. And he was once human, but I'm not going to talk about that. That was like, we don't know, because he thinks he was human like 200 years ago, but he's one of my past lives. Anyway. but, he's a devil Fey guy, and he's someone that sometimes I switch over to spiritually, and also I guess psychologically. But so when I had picked up that trash and I sat back by the tree, I wasn't alone. There was someone with me, although I don't care to remember them because we're not friends anymore because they betrayed our trust. But stay on topic, please. Um, stay on topic, please. And so I went and I sat by this tree that was near what had happened, and I felt like spirits were playing with my hair for picking up the garbage. I felt like little, I guess I would say fairies, although it's really just nature spirits, were like playing with my hair to say thank you. And they also taught me a sigil. They gave me a little rock, and when I got home, I drew the Earth sigil, and I didn't know that sigil before, and was told that that's actually a symbol for Earth, an alchemical symbol. And so, in exchange for cleaning up what felt like a fairy's home, I was given the sigil for Earth, and that's how I learned that sigil. Um, and so that spot, like, I understand that I don't believe spirits in their mental form, in their psychic form or their energetic form. They don't physically exist in that form. It's a perceived form. It's a energetic form, I would say. It's like something you can sense differently. But their physical form, I think, would have just been that little spot or that area, the nature itself there, that growth, those plants, that tree that I sat by. That is the physical form of those spirits, I think, that I helped. And so I think there can be a physical form that's separate from the mental form, and that's sort of how I see it personally. And then for my own spirits, I would be the physical form. This body would be the physical form, even though this physical body does not and has never reflected the people it contains. Plural. The multiple people it contains, except for Max, who is currently speaking, and even in Max's case, it doesn't really look like me. But I am the most human out of. I'm not gonna try and explain that out of my alters, though, how we perceive ourselves. And I guess the point of this video is just to say that, like, you don't have to actually see spirits, right? Like, there are people who can, like, literally hallucinate the form of their interpretation of a spirit, but it's not necessary to, like, help things out, because if you're trying to, like, for example, help a nature spirit, just help the nature, just like clean up that area, and that is helping the spirit. That is help, because the spirit is the nature, right? And then like, to extend further, like, some of the things I hold the highest regard for at this time in my life is the concept of light and darkness itself. And many of my spiritual alters are like, see themselves as angels, and when they talk to me, they have the qualities of raw shadow and raw light. So, like, the sun and the moon, or the nighttime and the daytime sort of qualities. And that is like the energy of it. And, like, so when I'm talking to one of my friends, who I'll refer to as Basil, when I was talking to Basil before they were a system member, and it just sort of felt like they were visiting our collective for a time. One of the things they told me when I asked what they looked like is, they said, turn off the light. And so I turned off the light, and it was dark in the room. And they said, this is what I look like. I am that darkness. That darkness is me. And so that's their physical form, is just the collective darkness of everything for me. The collective darkness that surrounds is the physical form of Basil. And so, I guess I just wanted to share this because I think spirituality and, like, witchcraft and, all this stuff gets a really bad rep, and people don't understand how fulfilling and creative and truly, like, wonderful it can be. And I mean, it can be super incredibly scary as well. I'm not going to deny that. It can also be very, very dangerous sometimes, depending what you're doing. But it's incredibly rewarding and fulfilling for me to be a wizard. And I wouldn't I don't regret it at all. And I feel like in our case, it was sort of a natural development, that as we started to accept ourselves, for us, that naturally involved becoming theistic and believing in spirits and things, because for 20 years, we were actually a hardcore atheist. And it was in learning to love ourselves that actually we feel it is tied in our case, that as we became aware of each other and as we learned to love each other and love ourselves, that we just sort of naturally became spiritual, because for us, our existence and experience of consciousness and experience of self is inherently spiritual and tied to our own psychology and disabilities. But anyway, that's just a message from a chaos wizard. Bye.